Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Francis, CEO of Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, and we're so excited you've joined us here tonight. For those of you who may not be familiar, Bethel Woods is more than just a cultural center or concert venue. It's a living, breathing part of history. Located at the site of the legendary 1969 Woodstock Music and Art Fair, the granddaddy of all festivals, where 500,000 people came together for 3 days of peace and music. Woodstock wasn't just about the iconic artists of the time or hippies sliding in the mud. What made it truly magical was the community, the bond that formed among the masses over those 3 epic days. When the food ran out, the local neighbors cleaned out their pantries for total strangers. When the rain and lightning came, they huddled together under whatever cover they could find. There are countless touching stories of people helping each other through those chaotic couple of days, and why we say this is the place where peace happened. That spirit still defines everything we do today at Bethel Woods, and unlike that verse in the Eagles Hotel, California, we have had that spirit here since 1969. Volunteers are the heartbeat of our mission at Bethel Woods. Without them, our concerts, festivals, arts programs, and even the storytelling that happens daily at our museum would not be possible. Just last year, 271 volunteers donated over 21,000 hours. Yes, you heard that right, 21,000 hours. They helped us welcome over 300,000 visitors and deliver experiences that ranged from world-class entertainment to deeply meaningful arts education programs for children and impactful docent-led tours of the historic site. For many of our visitors, this isn't just another stop at a museum during a road trip. It's checking off a bucket list dream. By becoming a volunteer here, you're not just giving your time, you're joining a group who also look out for each other while doing something they love. You'll meet truly incredible people, make lasting connections, and share in the joy of helping others experience the magic of music, art, and history, the essence of what it is to be human. So if you're looking for a way to make a difference this year, I can't think of a better way than joining us at Bethel Woods. Together, we can continue the legacy of what started right here 56 short years ago, bringing people together and making the world a little brighter. Thank you, and I hope to see you as part of our team really soon.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our virtual volunteer open house this evening. My name is Kim Eckerson, and I am the volunteer and staffing manager here at Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. The goal of this open house is to give you an insight into the different volunteer opportunities available here at Bethel Woods and how you can get involved in 2025. Hopefully, we will answer all of your questions as we go through this presentation, but please feel free to type questions in the question box and we'll be able to answer them at the end. Bethel Woods Center for the Arts is a 501c3 nonprofit cultural center located at the historic site of the 1969 Woodstock Festival in Bethel, New York. Bethel Woods is set on 1,000 acres and includes an open-air pavilion stage amphitheater, an indoor event gallery, multi-purpose market sheds, an award-winning museum, a conservatory and studios for creative learning programs, and a new multifaceted campground. Our mission is to provide extraordinary experiences and access to the arts while building upon our rich history of peace and music. And how do we do this? Through the support and generosity of our active volunteers. At a roster of almost 300, our volunteers contributed over 21,000 hours in 2024, which has surpassed all previous years and is our highest recorded volunteer year to date. Our volunteers' hours were served in a multitude of ways at different events throughout the year, which we will get to this evening. Our volunteers are the official face of Bethel Woods. They are often the first people our guests see when they arrive. They help answer questions provide directions, and make sure everyone feels welcome. And as a nonprofit, we would not be able to operate without our volunteers. In this slide here, we have our dedicated volunteers at Peace, Love, and Lights Walkthrough Monday event in that top left corner. And in the bottom right, you can see Jean assisting with one of our Peace, Love, and Lights special events, Gingerbread Build and Sip. In the top right, we have one of our volunteer couples, Carmine and Linda, who you'll meet shortly, dressing up during our volunteer fright night at Peace, Love, and Pumpkins. In the bottom left, we have one of our docents, Joe, giving a golf cart tour to our guests. And top center is Kristen, who is pictured here volunteering by the pavilion during our concert season. There are many volunteer opportunities here at Bethel Woods, which includes concerts, the museum education and creative programming, festivals, and administrative tasks. Some volunteers choose to focus on one area, while other volunteers choose to spend their time volunteering in multiple capacities. The choice is yours, and we appreciate any amount of time that you can commit. Most of our volunteer roles at Bethel Woods are guest service roles. At concerts, volunteers begin by greeting our guests at the main gates and are stationed throughout the venue to answer questions and assist guests and with wayfinding. Volunteers also help out at our green room, our ADA assistance entrance, and with our box office team to answer phones and welcome our members. After volunteers have completed a full season volunteering in guest services at concerts, they can then express interest to attend our usher training for our pavilion guest services. Last year, we also introduced our volunteer run rock and recycle program during concerts, which we are so excited about continuing this season. Concert days are super busy, but they're very exciting, especially for a new volunteer. All volunteers do go through a detailed training day related to concerts to learn about security, safety, and to gain specific concert knowledge. And first, we're going to hear from Casio and two of our wonderful volunteers, Carmine and Linda, to find out more about volunteering at concerts. Over to you, Casio.
Hi, everyone. My name is Casio Fonseca. I am the volunteer and staffing coordinator here at Bethel Woods. This is going on my 7th year with the company in a bunch of different positions. And I am very happy to be sitting down with two of some of my favorite volunteers, Linda and Carmine. If you two could please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Linda. I'm one of the volunteers. My husband Carmine and I volunteer together at Bethel Woods. And I just finished my first year of volunteering.
And I'm Carmine, and I'm on my 5th year of volunteering, and I love it.
Tell us a little bit about your times volunteering at concerts and kind of the different opportunities that are available there for volunteers.
Okay, so, there's every opportunity you want. You can work in guest services, or you can work down by the pavilion. It's all pretty cool. You're very flexible in what kind of position you want to do, and you can try them all out. And when you figure out one that you like, you can stick with it, or you can kind of just do everything you want. That's kind of what I do. I like to do everything.
Last year, one thing I want to touch on is that we introduced the Rock and Recycle program here at Bethel. It's another great volunteer opportunity that we have during our concerts where we have our volunteers help to promote keeping the venue clean and keeping it green. Last year, we had about 637 people who helped us out, and we're only hoping to increase those numbers this year, but we need volunteer help. It is completely volunteer run. It's a great program, and we are hoping to make it bigger and better. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but could you talk about kind of what the typical concert shift is? And Carmine, could you talk to us a little bit about how your role as a volunteer leader differs a bit on those concert days?
So I'm a volunteer leader up usually in the plaza. I usually start in the plaza, so I get to greet everybody coming in, which is kind of what I like to do. It's great seeing everybody, everybody's happy coming in, so you get to help them out. A lot of them, sometimes they're a little nervous. They haven't been there in a while, and they don't know what's going on. So you help them out, and it's nice. And then towards when people start winding down, then I kind of move down to whatever other position that I'm assigned to, which is usually in the pavilion. And then I can either do like an usher position, or I can just, do the gates or anything. So that's kind of what I do as a volunteer leader. But it can vary. It can vary on depending upon what I sign up for. But that's basically what I do.
There are different chances or opportunities for different positions when you're volunteering at the concerts. The Rock and Recycle is one. That's nice. That's a nice position. You sit in the one area and there's a specific tent there, and you help people sign up, and then they take a bag and we ask them to pick up recyclables after the concert's over and help clean up the lawn, and then they get a gift when they bring that back. That's a really fun program. And another area, I would kind of help out where they needed. If they were short in one area, I would be helping. Sometimes in the green room, they have where people go before the concerts. I would help if people were going in there, and then they leave at the end, before they go down to the pavilion for the concert. You just, direct people out of there. There's a designated driver tent where you can sit there for the evening and, help people with that program. And there's a lot of different, some of the positions are, at the, when you're going to the walkway, you just help direct people, to which side their seat may be on, and, help answer questions, and then direct them to the lawn chair rental tent. That's a lot of questions you get. So things like that, you help with some of the positions.
We love having you both involved, and we're very thankful for your help at all the concerts and all the concerts to come. In volunteering with Bethel, want to know, what have been some of your favorite concerts that you've helped volunteer for?
The festivals, like the Fish Festival, the 2 and 3 day festivals, and then we have the camping now. So, people can come to the festivals, hang out, and go camping, and then they just walk over or take the Peace Bus over. So it's really, the festivals are a really cool thing.
It was really fun too to see some of the same people that, because the people right. said they would camp. So they would be back for the next evening show, and we would remember some of them, and they'd remember us. And it was fun to see some of the same people coming back. And that was a fun thing too.
It doesn't matter whether you're gonna hang out at the concerts or volunteer at the museum. Everybody there, everybody that works there, everybody that volunteers there is just got a good vibe. It's just such a happy place. I have not left that place once, sad. My adrenaline is always pumping every time I leave there, and I can't wait to get back every time.
Thank you guys so much again for talking with me, and we'll turn things back over to Kim.
Thank you, Cassio, Carmine, and Linda. Volunteers also help out in our museum 7 days a week from April through December. Volunteers welcome guests, they scan tickets and answer any questions that guests may have. And after you have volunteered a minimum of 50 hours in the museum, you can sign up to enter our docent training program. Docents are some of our most dedicated volunteers. They are experts on the knowledge of the 60s and the original Woodstock Festival, and they get to give tours of the museum and the grounds. And now we have Julia and Denise to tell us a little bit more about museum volunteering opportunities.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julia Fell. I am the curator of exhibits at the museum at Bethel Woods, and I've been here since 2018, so almost 7 years now. I'm here with Denise, who's one of our volunteers. Denise, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Marcella, and I've been a volunteer now for 2 years. I started 2 years ago in the museum, and last year I was certified as a docent.
What's it like being a volunteer in the museum, both in the visitor services role and as a docent?
It's a great experience. I love Bethel. I am local. I'm originally from Coshocton, and I remember the Woodstock Festival. I was young at the time, 11, but close enough that I saw the traffic and the mud and the people, and then afterwards. So I always was drawn to Bethel, to the Yasker's farm, and I was one of the ones who used to experience coming back. I call anniversary weekend. When everybody else would do a pilgrimage to the place. So I've always wanted to be part of Bethel, love the area, and it's amazing to be part of the museum. The museum itself, the shifts, the information is great, the history is amazing, and there are five different galleries in the museum. The first one talks about the festival, some of the experiences when you go in. There's also different galleries. There's one that talks about the history of the late 50s and the 60s, which brings you into what really was the foundation for how the festival happened. A lot of people are just thrilled when you just talk to them, and it's a great way. And I go into the docent program, but it's a great way to become familiar with what is in that museum and the history that will help you if you decide to become a docent.
What made you decide that you wanted to become a docent, to take that next step?
I love talking and speaking and sharing my experiences and hearing the feedback of people and their experiences. It's just an amazing place to volunteer and work.
What does being a docent involve? What is the process of becoming a docent like? And then what is it in practice?
Becoming a docent is you have to put a minimum, I believe it's 50 hours in the museum before you can become the beginning of becoming a docent. It's learning what's in the museum, understanding, doing, it's on your own, but there's different books that you'll read, like different ones that give you the history of the museum, the planning of the festival, the 3.5 days that it took place. So it's learning a lot about the history, the musicians, and everything that took place, even, the locals, because there's some locals that, that are on display in the museum. And then you become comfortable. There's a lot of training, some great role models with the docent that are willing to help. And it's learning about the museum, learning about the 5 different galleries, what the festival field was, what we currently, Woodstock, Bethel Woods offers, what we are, today and where we're going in the future.
One thing that really strikes me about our museum volunteers and about our docent program is that it's a really collaborative and supportive environment. Could you just speak briefly to what that experience is like, being part of that group?
They're very supportive, and it's really a team. I know I was working with one lady that was going through it, and I said, you know what, you can do this. It's very reassuring. We give tips on, don't worry about this when you're going through it. Only concentrate on that. It really is a community.
All right. Well, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to share your experiences with us today. And before we sign off, I just want to mention for everybody listening out there that the museum will be reopened again on April 1st, 2025. We are closed for the winter season right now, but we'll be open again in the spring. And the museum team has got lots of cool projects in store. And we can't wait for you to find out about everything that we've got coming for the next year, including programming, exhibits, new projects. It's just going to be a great year.
Thank you so much, Julia and Denise. Another volunteer opportunity that we have here at Bethel is with our Museum Education and Creative Programming Department, which is more commonly referred to here as MEASP. Volunteers help out with visiting school groups. We have family concerts, sensory-friendly experiences, and at our creative programming during festivals. In these photos, we do have some volunteers with members of the cast of Rock of Ages and also helping out with the crafts at Harvest Festival. And here to tell us a little bit more about the programming is Candace and Mare.
Hello, my name is Candace Ravella, and I am the Assistant Director of the Museum Education and Creative Programs Department at Bethel Woods. I've been working here since 2018. And I am here with one of our esteemed volunteers, Mare. Mare, can you introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been working at Bethel Woods?
Hi, Candace. My name is Mare Routson, and I have had 3 full seasons as a volunteer. But before that, I used to be a member when it first opened, when Bethel Woods first opened.
You have lots of different talents and certifications. Mare, and you also have a MEASP certification here at Bethel Woods. Can you tell us what MEASP stands for and what are some of the volunteer opportunities available to you?
Yes, we have a lot of acronyms at Bethel Woods. MECPM, Museum, E, Education, Creative Programs. So it's a mouthful, and it really kind of does incorporate everything that you all do within that MESP, and anything that's creative and educational is, I think, pretty much covers what we do. And it's just a wonderful program, and I love being a part of it.
Yeah, there's so many different education programs here, so many different offerings for all ages. Do you have a favorite program that you volunteered in?
I think every time I'm there, whatever I'm doing happens to be my favorite at the time because, you know, I love working with children. I love working with adults. So it could be, you know, the camaraderie that we get with you and the other artists in training and the volunteers and the students that come in. I'm a former teacher. I love students. I love kids that want to come in and learn. And so there really isn't a favorite thing. I mean, even just organizing the closets for you sometimes when that's needed is fun too, because I know I always needed somebody. So now I like to be needed as well.
You do an amazing job in all that you do for the Museum Ed team. Do you have any memorable moments, any particular moments that stand out for you in your years of volunteering here?
I think one of the times that I really do truly remember, we were making protest posters.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so at that age group, sometimes they just need some sort of light under them to get them getting an idea of what's an important issue for you right now. You know, these are the important issues of the day back in the 60s, and this is what I did, but what's important to you? And one of the kids was just like, I hate that we have styrofoam at the lunchroom. I said, well, that's a great thing. So what would you like to see happen instead? And then all the kids got engaged. Yeah, I don't like that too. And that whole table just got so involved right then and there. And they all just started doing things. And you know what I also don't like? So it just took that one child to engage and express their interest. Then the other kids watched and they're like, oh yeah. Oh, and what about? And by the end of that 30-minute exercise, we had 6 to 8 spectacular posters, each with a different idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So sometimes a little spark can create a flame that spreads. And that's wonderful. I love that you have such a passion for your participation in our Explore the 60s program, and all of the work that you've done for our department, supporting us through the years. And thank you again for taking some time to chat about those experiences today. I just want to mention also we've got a whole slate of 2025 programs coming up in art and music, museum education, and lots of different ways for our volunteers to get involved. And some of those are more active, like you've been explaining, you know, working with students and Explore the 60s. And sometimes we just need extra hands helping to, you know, engage audiences, pass out pamphlets, help us organizing, help us with departmental tasks. Lots of different ways volunteers can engage with our department. So I'm looking forward to working with you, Mayor, and any other volunteers that want to come our way this year.
Thank you, Candace, and we're looking forward to all of the programs that MESP has to offer this year as well. Next up is festivals. Bethel Woods hosts many festivals throughout the year, such as Catskill Cuisine, Harvest Festival, Peace, Love, and Pumpkins, and Peace, Love, and Lights. And our volunteers' roles at festivals include greeting guests, helping with check-in, and our welcome tables, and even dressing up. Our bottom photo here shows our annual Harvest Festival, which introduced our very own wagon rides this past year, in addition to our corn maze and hosting over 100 local vendors. And now we have Pat and Dave to tell us a little bit more about festivals.
Hello, my name is Pat Miller. I'm the Operations and Events Manager for Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. Today we have one of our incredible volunteers, Dave, on the call. Dave, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Dave Nissen. I am a volunteer at Bethel Woods and have been for 8 years. I currently reside in Orange County in Cornwall, New York, but during the season, I own a cabin up in Sullivan County because I want to be as near to Bethel as I possibly can be because I love it up there.
Don't we all want to be as close to Bethel as possible? And we're
Yes.
certainly happy to have you on the call today as one of our volunteers. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how a typical day or shift looks at Bethel Woods for you?
Sure. I am really a music buff, and that's what attracted me to Bethel Woods. I was golfing one day 9 years ago with a friend of mine who was also a volunteer up there, and he told me a story, and it just stuck. So I got on the list, came to the first meeting, and here I am volunteering. Mostly work the festivals and all of the concerts that I can. I really enjoy it. I love people. And the whole thing about being a volunteer at Bethel Woods is you need to be really happy with yourself and then engage with everybody that comes through those gates, because it's a magical place and they want to be there. So you want to make that they feel wanted at Bethel Woods.
Yeah, no, truly. And that's incredible. I heard you mention that you happen to work a few of our festivals. What festivals have you worked in the past?
I've worked the Beer and Wine Festival. I've worked Catskill Cuisine. I did a few shifts at the Harvest Festival. So I love the festivals. The people want to be there. And it's an opportunity for all of us to showcase basically what's going on up in Sullivan County and with the vendors and what they have to offer.
It sounds like you've helped with kind of all of our festivals that we've done in the past, which is amazing. And so in your mind, what does a typical day in the life look like as a volunteer coming to one of those festivals?
We arrive at the facility and usually the staff is gracious enough to supply us with bagels and donuts and coffee in the morning, which is very important. We have a team meeting, and you say team, but it's really more like family at this point in time. We've all been together so long, and it's just like coming home every time I walk into the facility. You get assigned where your shift is going to be. Usually I work all day. So as a festival goes, you report in at 10 or 11, and some days you're there as late as 6 or after as the guests mingle out. But we're there for the guests, so you put in your time.
Something that you're kind of alluding to is, definitely there's some intricacies between a typical day at a festival working and a typical day at a concert. What are some of those differences between, working a concert and working a festival? At
concerts, my position is I work at the lawn chair tent, which is the top of the lawn, and you're under the gun there. People want to get in, they want to get their seats, they want to get ready, and they want to enjoy the music. So you're in a time frame. We start that shift usually at 4:30. I go till the end of the concert, which is usually 11 o'clock. And, people are on a mission. When you work a festival, people just want to come in and enjoy the day. They want to come in, they want to meander around. You interface with them all through the day. We get the opportunity on our lunch break to go enjoy the vendors that are there. And typically we see people that we've already greeted at the front gate and ask them how they're doing, how their day is going, and if there's anything else that we can help them with or guide them in their experience at Bethel Woods.
Thank you so very much for taking the time to speak with me today about your experience with festivals. And I wouldn't be doing my job if it wasn't a shameless plug for our festivals this year. We will have the Harvest Festival returning August 31st and running for 6 consecutive weeks through October 5th. Then we will have the Peace, Love, and Pumpkins Festival returning on October 10th and running through November 2nd this year, which is relatively new. And then the Light Festival will be back on Black Friday weekend as every year. So again, Dave, thank you so very much for your time today.
Thank you for allowing me to be a volunteer. It's really such a highlight.
We couldn't do what we do unless it was for you. So thank you so very much. And now we'll turn it back over to Kim.
Thank you, guys. I love hearing about the festivals. Honestly, Harvest Fest is one of my favorite things, and I can't wait for our upcoming festival season. So last, we have administrative volunteer opportunities. So we do have many volunteer roles that are not forward-facing, which you can get involved in, such as oral histories, helping us with concert prep, and even some office tasks. And volunteers also assist with our development and membership departments and can even be members themselves. So here to tell us a little bit more about this is Devin and Eileen.
I'm Devin O'Brien. I'm the Director of Impact at Bethel Woods. I've been here for about 10 months, and I'm excited to be here with you, Eileen, and to hear a bit about your experience volunteering at Bethel Woods. So if you could maybe kick things off by introducing yourself and telling us how long you've been volunteering?
My name is Eileen Morey, and I started volunteering in the year 2006 prior to the opening of the first main stage performance.
We owe a lot to you as one of the original people behind the curtain, making it all happen at Bethel Woods as a volunteer and as a contributor to our mission. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. Well, I'm grateful for all that you've done for us over the years. Today, like when you're volunteering for the organization, what are you currently volunteering in? What does a typical day look like for you?
Well, I've stuck to mainly volunteering in the membership department with whatever needs they had. In the spring, they'll have a membership mailing kit that gets mailed out to each member. And myself and a few others get together and help get the packets together, the membership cards, whatever pertinent information needs to get out to the members, the listings of the shows, etc. But mostly I assist at the concerts, the main stage concerts in the summertime. And myself and a few others sit at the membership tent, also by the guest services there, and the gates. We also have a special gate that the members go through. So we check for membership cards and get people in, hopefully in a timely manner, to the shows.
Do you find that you still, as a volunteer, get to enjoy the music and be present for it and kind of be in the scene that initially attracted you to Bethel Woods and to becoming a member?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yep. I've seen a lot of shows. I've brought my family and friends, and I love it. I love it.
Amazing.
I enjoy the camaraderie.
Yeah. What about over the years? You got quite a lot to reflect on, but maybe your top most memorable experience or a special one that you remember?
It's 50-year celebration of the original Woodstock in 2019. Absolutely loved it.
What about it was so memorable for you?
Well, working in the membership department, we did receive a lot of calls, whether they were directed towards the membership or just people calling for information, because there was a big issue with traffic flow and how they were going to handle that. And we tried to assist people who weren't members also about getting safely to the concert area, and just gave them information. But they shared stories with us. We had so many people that had returned for this reunion that had gone to the original Woodstock, and they shared with us all their experiences. It was It was amazing. Very, very memorable.
I hope the folks that are listening, maybe just hear your voice and kind of get a sense of my own experience too, which is that when you're here and connect with an alumni of Woodstock or somebody that grew up like worshiping the festival, and it's such a big part of people's lives, and it's very cool to have those moments where you connect with somebody and you get a little insight into their experience of Woodstock, Bethel Woods, and our volunteers are really I hope people realize like the core of our ability to do what we do. They're out there every day and having these interactions with people and telling stories and hearing stories and interacting with everybody that comes through Bethel Woods.
Devin, you couldn't have said it better. Our volunteers really are so wonderful, and thank you all so much to our volunteers for your experience, your knowledge, and your testimonies. And as you can see, as our volunteers mentioned today, there are just so many benefits to volunteering here at Bethel Woods. So pretty much how this process works is that our volunteers sign up for opportunities they are interested in through our online system, which is called My Volunteer Page. And this means you create your own schedule, so you can sign up for as much or as little as you would like. Our requirements are actually very minimal. So we only require a minimum of 10 hours a year to be considered an active volunteer. And we offer a really wide range of detailed training sessions. So you never go into volunteer volunteering feeling unprepared. Bethel Woods is also recognized as a volunteer station for RSVP Sullivan, which offers partial mileage reimbursement for volunteers in the local area, as well as other benefits for volunteers. Outside of standard volunteer opportunities, we also have many volunteer recognition events throughout the year, such as our volunteer appreciation, our end of season party, and our holiday cookie swap. And it's just also a really good time for all of our volunteers to get to spend time with each other and to get to know each other. All of our volunteers do come from near and far, some from right up the road, while others will travel anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to dedicate their time to this wonderful organization. The connection and the sense of community and family that volunteering at Bethel Woods brings is always one of the top things that our volunteers talk about. We do have a lot of volunteers who join us as a duo, such as Carmine and his wife, Linda, who you heard from earlier today. And by donating their time together, they're able to spend quality time while making memories volunteering. And another perk that you get is you do get into the museum for free after donating 15 hours of overall service. And additionally, you are allowed up to 4 complimentary guest passes per visit when you show your Bethel Woods ID. We really, truly couldn't do all that we do with the help from our volunteers. So if you liked what you saw and heard today and you would like to apply to volunteer, you can do so through our website at bethelwoodscenter.org/volunteer. You can also email volunteers, that's with an S, at bethelwoodscenter.org for more information. And this open house will also be available after tonight. So if you missed anything, you can view it afterwards. You can also share it with friends or family that may also be interested. And we're going to take a look now at some of the questions that you have submitted. So one of the first questions that came up is, can we work with our life partner? So yes, as you saw earlier tonight, we do have couples, partners, friends who do volunteer together. And like I said, there's no better way to make memories than to do something fulfilling with someone that you care about. Another question that we received, are all positions standing? So there are some standing positions as well as seated positions. If volunteers have any specific needs, we always will have reasonable accommodation. When shifts are posted on the My Volunteer Page website, descriptions are posted along with that to give additional context about the position. And it's here where we also mention whether a position is standing or seated. So that way you will know ahead of time what type of position that will be. Another question that is coming up is, do you have to volunteer for every concert and do you do the same job every time? So one great thing about our volunteer program is that the time commitment and schedule is totally up to you. So you do not have to volunteer for every concert. You can volunteer for one, or you can volunteer for all of them. And we actually do encourage our volunteers to try different positions. So by trying different roles, you can figure out what you like and what you are good at, and you also will be very versatile too. We do have some volunteers though that have their favorite spots, which is totally fine, and they choose to volunteer for the same area, but pretty much the choice is up to you. And some of the available positions that we have, as mentioned in our presentation, is that we do have a wide variety of volunteer opportunities. So it ranges from our museum to education and creative programming, festivals, concerts, and admin work. Another question that we have here is, are volunteers needed year-round? So yes, our grounds are open from April through December with daily museum openings in addition to our events. We usually have our festivals, as mentioned, in the spring and the fall. Our Peace, Love, and Lights festivals even goes through the end of December. So we need you all the time. So whatever availability you have is great for us. Another question we received is, are volunteer dates assigned, or can you choose when to volunteer? So it's a little bit of both, actually. There are obviously certain events where we do assign specific dates based on those events. And then from those assigned dates is when you choose to volunteer. So again, you're kind of creating your own schedule, and you're picking what you want to volunteer for. Another question that we received is, are there remote volunteer jobs? So at this time, we do have very little remote opportunities. However, that doesn't speak for what may become available in the future. A lot of volunteer opportunities are event driven, and they are site based, and that's where we need help the most. So there may be occasional filing that can be done remotely, but again, right now it is very limited. I did mention scheduling before, but somebody had asked, how does scheduling work? So just a little bit more detailed. So scheduling is done through our Better Impact My Volunteer Page software. So it's a website where all of our volunteer opportunities are posted, and then volunteers have the choice of what to sign up for. So as I said before, all details are given about the shift, what the shift entails. So that's what time the shift will be, any special notes that you might need, whether it's outside or inside, whether it's standing or seated. And then once you sign up, we will do an approval process, and then you'll get a reminder to your personal account. You can see your volunteer schedule each time you log in. Is there a time commitment? So somebody asked about the time commitment. So once again, we do have some minor requirements to volunteer. So all volunteers are required to participate in an annual training session. So sometimes this is virtual, but most of the time we do want hands-on training. And this is to ensure that all volunteers are staying refreshed and up to date about what's going around on our campus. So all of our new volunteers in particular go through a new volunteer orientation and a training session. And we do require a 10-hour minimum for any volunteer who wants to be considered active. So if the 10-hour minimum is not met by December, you can still be a volunteer, but it's just that year won't count towards service pins or any recognition events. And then we do have some of our other areas that do require separate qualifications. For example, our MEASP opportunities do require training certification and a background check. Our pavilion guest services requires 1 year experience of volunteering at concerts first before you can sign up for that. Ushering in the event gallery also requires 1 year of experience of volunteering. Our docent program is quite in depth. So to become a docent, you do have to volunteer in the museum first for 50 hours. And then for some of our other tours, such as behind the scenes or main gates tours, the prerequisite is being a docent. And then we do also sometimes have a golf cart training, dependent on the type of tour. We often get asked to, how old do you have to be? So we are actually very open to having volunteers of all ages. Ideally, high school age and up is preferred, but we do have our youngest volunteer is 16 and in high school, and we're always open to getting more involvement from this age group that will really inspire the next generation. And just remember that these volunteer hours can count towards community service, graduation, or even honor society requirements. And even for certain events such as our Fright Night, we've had some volunteers help us that are as young as 10 years old. And those are usually children of our current volunteers, which is kind of nice because it's a nice family event that they can help us with. And another question that we have is, can concert volunteers watch the show? So this actually will depend on your shift and where your shift is located. So any volunteer shifts that end before the concert does, we do allow volunteers to complete their shift first. They remove all ID and uniform components, and then they may watch the remainder of the show from the lawn. Other positions, such as some of our guest services and ushering positions, are based near the pavilion. So sound and sight of the show are actually much closer, so you can possibly get a glimpse while you're volunteering. And then we also suggest that if there is a show that you really want to see, that you do have access to buy tickets. All right. If you're If you did apply already, we will be looking at your applications and we will be reaching out to you shortly. So don't fret, we do have that on the side, and we will be contacting you shortly to get the process started. We'll do a little interview, a little 15-minute interview just to ask you some questions, find out what your interests were. And if you have any other questions that weren't answered tonight, we would certainly be happy to answer them when we contact you about your application. Or you can always feel free to send us an email. I do want to thank you all sincerely for watching our virtual open house tonight, and we hope to see you soon at Bethel Woods.